I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Teach Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Hello, my children, your father's brought you a nail art video. Spoilers. Hello, my children, your father's brought you a nail art video.
Why are you wearing a glove, you weirdo?
Because I'm studying to be a proctologist. And before you write that comment, no, this is not the long-awaited lost nail art video, which we fully filmed twice and is still sitting there as an entirely unedited video. Sorry. It'll come out when it comes out. Give her time. Don't force anyone out of the closet. We'll get to that one day, but for now, I painted some Pokemon on my nails. Now, I've wanted to do a Pokemon manicure since I did my first video game manicure. And since Pokemon Day was on February 27th, I thought this was the perfect time to channel Smeargle and paint some Pokemon on my nails. What's the gull part? The smear makes sense because he's a painter. But like Smeargle? He's not a seagull.
You know, I was just thinking about that now, and I'm wondering if it's supposed to, in some weird way, be a reference to Schmeagle? Like...
My precious.
Yes.
Oh, maybe it's supposed to be a beagle. However, when brainstorming ideas, I kept getting stuck on which Pokemon to paint on my nails, as I only have 5 nails on my main hand, for now. And there's well over 1,000 Pokemon out there now. Actually, there's probably at least 3 more, assuming that Wind and Waves got announced on Pokemon Day. Let's hope I'm not wrong, because I am filming this before then.
Okay, but have you seen the 3 new starters? Because they are the cutest things ever, and I am obsessed with the dog.
Anyways, back to the nail art. In the spirit of Who's That Pokemon?
I think the Pokemon is actually pronounced Mesprit.
You know what? We are seeking these puns to be that good, but not absolutely all of them will.
You caught them. Caught them all. I don't know. You just worked those in.
You lost. I win.
Goal.
Don't want to write you off this victory? No, I got nothing. I guess I'm not the Machamp.
You choked there.
Here you go. In the spirit of Who's That Pokemon, I decided to turn this into a little bit of a game that y'all can play while I paint. So during each nail art, there's going to be a number of points in the corner of the screen that's going to count down as we get closer and closer to the reveal. While you're watching, guess the Pokemon, and the sooner you figure it out, the more points you'll earn. Then at the end of the video, let me know your score. And I'm going to have faith in Arceus that y'all aren't going to cheat. So I hope y'all are ready to play Who's That Pokemon, and let's hop it right into the nail art. Just to let you know though, that wasn't a hint. Be prepared for Pokemon puns throughout, as the husband and I had a lot of fun writing them, even if some are a little far-fetched. Okay, the game starts me now. That's not a good one.
Meowth.
Okay, the game starts now. To begin on the first Pokemon, I started with a base layer of Indigo Away by Hollow Taco. I needed a dark base layer to be the body, however this wasn't exactly dark enough as the body is closer to a blackened blue. So I added a coat of Cirque's Midnight Jelly, which is a deep blue, thinking it would darken it slightly, but it didn't really do much, champ. Oh well. On to the next step. Oh, also I kept messing with the lighting of things while I was filming this, so apologies for the inconsistencies. Oh, and double apology if now you can't unsee it. Now, to actually start the design, I used my teeny tiny nail art brush to draw 2 ellipses around the midpoint of the nail, spaced slightly apart using Hollow Taco's Not Milky White, which will later become this little guy's eyes. Oh, and before we move into the next steps, my hint for this Pokemon is that it's not a water type. Anyways, moving on, I had to do a little bit of work on my liner brush because I let this brush get a little frayed due to not properly storing it. There's this little sheath to help protect the bristles during storage, which I promptly lost the one for this one, so... To fix this, I trimmed off the bristle that was super frayed, as the rest could be salvaged. Now, when using a liner brush like this, you have to rotate the brush while pulling it through the paint. This will thin the brush so you can pull long uniform lines on the nail. And for that, I used Rhapsody in Blue by Cirque. I really struggled to find the right blue in my collection for this step, as I think the actual color is a slightly more wishy washed out blue. Wishy washed out. Part of the problem is you added these puns after I wrote my stuff, so I'm reading them cold for the first time.
Oh yeah, I forgot you don't read.
What up? I'm Jared, I'm 19, and I learned how to read.
With that liner brush, I painted wobbly lines, first focusing on 2 going down from the base of the nail to frame the white circles. And from there, I continued this process, making relatively random swoopy lines that go around the nail. Which, speaking of, this was really difficult to do because I couldn't get the brush in the right location to pull lines on the far side of my nail because I kept bonking the tripod. However, this would have been far easier if I wasn't trying to film it, like most nail arts. So I hope you appreciate this. Anyways, after adding a tangle of blue lines, it's time to finish up this Pokemon by adding little black dots for the eyes using a dotting tool. Which, speaking of, my tip with the dotting tool is to make the little dots off the nail first, so you can have more control over the size of the dot before you put it on the nail. As I always find it so intimidating to try to make multiple dots the exact same size for the eyes specifically so they don't look doofy. And with the final dot, Tangela is done. This little bugger, oh wait, I have an idea. Where are the gloves? And with the final dot, Tangela is done. Remember when they did surgery on a grape?
Who?
Just, that was like a thing. Like, they did surgery on a grape.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. They did surgery on a grape.
What surgery did they do on a grape?
Surgery.
I would love literally any speck more specificity than surgery.
Surgery. This little bugger came out so good. Wait, why is he a grass type? Like a tangle of vines, but why isn't he green? And they also didn't fix that with the evolution. Gen 1 was really just doing its own thing.
Ugh. Jump scare. Trap pinched in a corner here.
It's like you're in your own little grove vial. Maybe you should stay in your tree. I don't know if I believe in ghosts. I think I'm a skeptile. Anyways, I chose Tangela because its evolution Tangrowth appears as a main character in an upcoming Pokemon game, Pokopia. That's Pokemon's new Animal Crossing Minecraft-esque game that I'm really excited for and is going to become my entire personality when it comes out. So if I go radio silent after it comes out, you know what I'm doing. Maybe that's the perfect time for a Nail Husband takeover. Anyways, it's finally time to leave Gen 1 in the past where it belongs.
You mean you don't want to spend $20 on a game that's 20 years old?
For the next nail art, I started with 2 coats of Beowulf by Mooncat, which is this slightly blue-leaning emerald green. No, emerald was not a hint. While this color is not a perfect match for this Pokemon's body, it's close enough for government work. Oh, and my hint this time is that it's not a grass-type Pokemon. This Pokemon has some extra detail with a slightly darker green, so I used Headhunter by Holotaco to draw a line straight down the middle-ish of the nail, ending with a semicircle. I say middle-ish because this little guy is a little doofy, so things can be wonky. Additionally, the vertical line is not continuous since it's more like a crease and less like a marking on the Pokemon's face. Which, speaking of, I used Holotaco's Not Milky White to make 2 white ovals for the eyes. These ones are spaced out further apart than Tangela and are also a touch wonky. However, I did spend some time going back to fix the symmetry because he's supposed to look a little doofy bass, not melted. Then continuing with the white, I added 3 similar sized triangles pointing down that are coming from the semicircle for teeth. Though in the process I did cover the dark green outline a little, so I went back in with more to fix the semicircle. At this point though, something looked off that wasn't intentional, so I went back to the reference picture and noticed that the vertical crease continued down under his mouth. And I thought I was ready to move on to the eyes, but on second thought, I wanted the vertical lines to look even wobblier. So I added more of the dark green to add some horizontal variability to that line. And I also realized that his head comes to more of a rounded point than my cuticle was, so I used the same dark green to carve out a more rounded triangular forehead, which required some cleanup as expected when painting directly next to the cuticles. Then I went in with the base to fix some of the mistakes, such as thinning the dark green crease or making the teeth more sharp. And finally, 2 black dots were added for the eyes. These ones are placed closer to the center and higher up the nail to give Trubbish the cutest little inquisitive look. Oh wait, which finger was this? They did surgery on a grape. Trubbish is one of my favorite Pokemon ever because he's just a little lost bag of trash, and I can relate to that. But also Gen 5 holds a special place in my heart. Gen 5 was the first magical cats. Angelical cats, angelical cats. Cats.
You know, you're kind of starting to look like a jellicle cat with your half of your fingers out on your gloved hand.
I thought I was going more for like 2004 Hot Topic. Gen 5 was the first major graphical advancement in the game that really still held true to the original pixel art style. And my high school self was flabbergasted by seeing the Pokemon actually move in battle.
Flabbergastly.
Oh, and don't even get me started on Sky Arrow Bridge, because as a child, high schooler, I was obsessed with New York City, and this region was set in New York City. But also, is that common knowledge? Like, did you know that Unova is United States of America?
Nobody knows what happened in Gen 5. Nobody played it, except for you.
Oh, we need a Gen 5 poster.
It should be the monkeys.
No, those are the worst Pokemon ever.
Oh,
I love
you
Gen
mean
5.
The worst Pokemon ever came from Gen 5?
Yes, correct.
Oh, you know who else came from Gen 5? Maractus.
Love Maractus.
Maractus is a Digimon.
Anyways, back to this adorable trash bag on my nails. Nail. One nail, just this one. Oh wait, it's upside down. One nail, just this one. This was overall a really easy and impactful nail art that I would low-key, high-key consider doing an entire hand of these so I can have just a horde of trash boys on my hand. Now personally, I think this is going to be the easiest one to guess, which in retrospect I probably shouldn't have chosen such an icon. But to start off, I painted a base layer of 2 coats of Holo Taco's Not Milky White. Then, using Holo Taco's Butter Me Up, I added a jagged line near the base of the nail. Also, apologies for how washed out the start of this step was. I forgot to adjust the camera settings based on how light the start of this nail art is. But I fixed it and finished filling in the pale yellow section at the top. And also, this was the point in the nail art that I got a text that I had a snow day tomorrow.
I love that little thing.
Sidebar, I of course had to take Titan to explore the snowy peaks of Mount Silver because he loves frolicking in the snow.
I mean, I don't know if this is the part of the video we'll include.
And in the morning, the snow was taller than him, but the downstairs neighbor cleared a small potty path for the dogs, so we let Titan run in it.
Hi!
Which he promptly tried to escape.
Anyways, this video is actually about Pokemon nail art and not just a chance to show how cute our little pocket monster is.
Hello, Snowy Boy. Oh, snowy.
I next went in with my steamy, tiny brush and Holo Taco's board meeting to draw a triangle outline on the nail. Actually, 2 of them. Next up, I used Holo Taco's Hot Take to add another triangle outline and 2 diamond outlines, filling in the remaining space on the nail. Now to finish up, I added 2 dots for the eyes. Your yawns are gonna be audible now, remember?
Yeah, I'm just a dreepy boy.
I see what you did there, good one.
I'm a dreepy little grandpa. And sometimes I'm a slowpoke with the jokes. Usually I'm a little drowsy. I don't have another one.
Now to finish up, I added 2 dots for the eyes and used the tiny brush for a cute little smile. And then I noticed that there's these under eye bags, so I used as little polish as possible to add slight arcs underneath the eyes, so that way the Togepi nail is complete.
Did you know that they did surgery on a grape?
See, told you.
Told me what?
Holy crap, this one came out so freaking cute. But also, can we talk about how she has eye bags and that makes her cuter? We should all strive to learn something from Togepi.
That's why you have the eye bags?
Yeah, just that reason. Not the crippling passage of time.
Dialga comes for us all.
Dialga will get us in the end. Now, this design was maybe a 32 out of 10 on the complexity scale, but ultimately, I'm really proud of how it came out. I started with 2 coats of Holo Taco's Feeling Fiendish from the Sophia collab, which I am just realizing now that this is maybe the 2nd time I think I've ever painted this color. Anyways, next up was adding liquid latex. I clearly need a new bottle because mine got so crusty and odd, but it's the keystone to this gradient that I'm going to do. To prepare, I surrounded the sides of my nail with liquid latex as it will make cleanup far easier after the aura gradient. And once again, apologies for the sloppy camera work here. I didn't realize that most of this was out of focus because I was so distracted by how crusty my liquid latex was.
Well, is. It's still crusty.
Lar.
What is going on now?
What now?
There's a car that's just backing up. Diva, I don't think you'll fit there.
They look like they're also like skidding out in the snow too.
Skidooing out.
Oh.
Do you hunger?
Did you hear that?
No.
I'm
I
ready.
can't hear anything, remember?
Sorry for getting you sick.
I don't hear any audino right now.
You have to get really loud, Rid, for someone to be able to hear you.
Yeah.
Or for you to be able to hear them. You are getting really congested. You might explode.
I might explode. From which end? Who knows? I've been coughing and wheezing all day.
An aura gradient is a circular gradient using a makeup sponge. To start, I added Work Bestie by Holo Taco in the center and then surrounded it with the base color. And since the sponge sucked up some of the color, I had to add a couple of coats of polish before I could start. Now, one tip I learned with sponge gradients is to lightly dab some of the excess off first so it doesn't flood the nail before lightly dabbing the sponge onto the nail. Which, after some light dabbing, I knew this color combination would not work. So instead, I added Holo Taco's Nightshade as the darkest color and added Work Bestie and then Feeling Fiendish around it. And when dabbing this onto the nail, it worked a lot better. So after removing the liquid latex, the gradient looked good enough to move on, which I will admit, I was really intimidated by the next step, so I let things fully dry and finished all but one other Pokemon before moving on. I went in with my teeny brush and Holo Taco's green screen to freehand this guy's face. I started with a tight V in the center of the nail, and then from the two ends, added two swooping lines, with the right line being slightly longer and going slightly higher than the left swoop. Then I thickened those swoops to make eyes. Next, I added a zigzag that curved upwards to the right and left side of the bottom of the V. And to finish sketching the mouth, the zigzag-goon was thickened so his mouth was opened in a spooky grin. Finally, to finish the face, I went back in to fill in what I outlined to punch in the green color. Additionally, I added green orbs of various sizes circling the face, trying to randomly switch between larger and smaller dots, attempting to not look like any particular alternating pattern.
You dreamed him.
Darkrai, leave my son!
Be gone, thought.
I mean, have you seen Darkrai and those like long legs, and then Mega Darkrai who's like...
No. If we're talking about legs, we need to talk about Mega Starmie. They said that I couldn't because my legs were too long.
Now this spooky boy is lit from within by the spirits of the Grand Underground, so I went in with Mooncat's Highway Glow and mixed it up with green screen to create some transition shades. I first dotted this in the center of the larger orbs before adding even more diluted green in the center of the face. And the last step was the most intimidating, as I added a spiral in the right eye using one coat black with my tiny brush. With that, Spiritomb was complete. This one was the most difficult because it had a gradient, free drawing the face, mixing up colors for shading the face, and then black at the end that would leave room for no mistakes.
Oh, you forgot to cut off your finger.
Oh.
You forgot to do surgery on a grape.
Oh, whoops. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with myself because this came out really good. Although after finishing everything, I realized that since Spiritomb is a ghost and dark type, I should have added glow in the dark, so I added that quick before the top coat.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Oh, so spooky. You don't want to meet that in the Grand Underground.
For the last Pokemon, I went on a journey here, including multiple restarts, so if you get it this early, you get extra points. The only hint I'll give y'all is 7.8 out of 10 too much water. So I started with Holo Taco's brownie points, painting 2 coats to get to full opacity. Then to help darken the base color, I added a coat of Cirque's Umbra Jelly, which seemed to get it to a blackened brown. And before I can move on, I painted a thick coat of Glossy Taco, as we're gonna add nail vinyls next. Which is why I waited to paint this one last, as the top coat needs to be as dry as possible before you can apply the nail vinyls. Things seemed good, so I placed the first vinyl from the center of the nail going diagonally towards the tip. And before I could place the second one to form a triangle, I wanted to adjust where the first one was to give me some more room on the sides of the nail. However, that's when this happened. Wah, wah. I guess the top coat wasn't fully dry, so there's no other option but to restart. However, when I was trying to take this off, I noticed it was refusing to leave my nail.
Why is it not coming off?
This is the part where I realized that I added a thick coat of peel-off base coat instead of glossy taco before the nail vinyls. And since peel-off is water-based, that's why the acetone was useless. So this nail was hound-doomed from the start. Resounded to complete this manicure, I repainted the base color again, only to stare at the reference image some more and realize that the base of this Pokemon's body is not a black and a brown. It's just black. So I decided to try something totally different, and it was a little chaotic, but worked out. I painted not Milky White on the base of the nail, and then used banana medicine on the top half. I know it currently looks like an inverse Togepi, but on the second coat of the white, I rounded the bottom into a semicircular shape. Next up, I used black to outline the semicircle and drew a vertical line down the middle of the nail. And from the top, I added 2 diagonal lines that connected to the hone edges of the white semicircle. Love hone edge. I love Pokemon that are objects.
Does that include Vanillite?
No, not food. Food Pokemon make me feel weird. Hi, this Bounce Sweet knows my birthday. I'm gonna eat it. No. But like, I'm a sword. I'm a chandelier. I'm a sandcastle. I am keys. I will die on this hill. Object Pokemon, best.
Love pink.
Love her. And with the outline done, I attempted to fill in the triangle with black. Now this is a time where using a black acrylic paint would probably be better, as using nail polish tends to get really globby here, which it did, but I fixed it later. Good morning.
Circle.
Did Musharna steal your dream? Next up, I added 3 thin vertical lines across the white semicircle, trying to keep them as thin as possible. Afterwards, I went over the black triangle again to help smooth out the section. However, my biggest concern was this was going to blur like crazy when the top coat was added because of all of that black polish. But once again, I persisted and moved on to adding cryogonal lines. How? No, this is not a good pun.
I didn't think it was a pun. I just thought it was a place that you could put it. And who else is ever going to talk about cryogonal?
I love cryogonal.
No. That is a stupid Pokemon.
It needs a mega
it's
evolution.
Literally a snowflake.
An angry snowflake.
The Pokemon Company said, what if we make a snowflake? Where's the creativity? Like Seal. The Pokemon that's a seal.
But I persisted and moved on to adding diagonal lines of Hollow Taco's Oh My Gourd between the black and yellow sections with my liner brush.
Oh my Gourdgeist?
And finally, to finish up, I used Hollow Taco's board meeting to add 2 blue dots just above the semicircle to make Snowrunt's adorable little eyes.
Make sure you don't flip the camera off.
Look at him shake.
Titan 2.
Titan 2. We need to tell you all, this creature is an emotional manipulator. He has learned that we worry about him when he shakes because he's hurt his back in the past. And now he shakes when it's dinner time and he wants his food.
Well, not when it's dinner time.
Oh yeah, an hour and a half early.
When he thinks it's dinner time. When he wants it to be dinner time.
He shakes for us to manipulate us to say, oh, you poor thing, let's take care of you. I love that creature so much. Now, for how much of a journey this one went on, it actually came out pretty good. I can almost see the little guy shivering in the snow now. Which, speaking of, here's the full manicure altogether. Oh, and if you're wondering who that dog is, that's Sandy, our downstairs neighbor. She's a certified good girl who loves to snack on sticks. Titan gets along with her pretty well, and he was very upset later that day when Sandy got to play outside and he couldn't join because of the back, like I said. Anyways, the Pokemon came out really well, so be sure to comment below your total score if you played along. And before we wrap things up, it's time for the WOMO. WOMOH. What's on my other hand? When I painted the nail arts, I had on Boom Toasted by Hollow Taco, but it literally chipped while preparing to film. So I decided to paint Leatherbound by Cracked, and then I added a gradient of Reindeer by Prison Parade. Not sure which spirit took over my body that led me to do nail art on my other hand. Maybe it was having 2 snow days in a row that really helped. And I know this video has gotten very off topic, but why not show you one more thing? Look at how cute Titan is when I carry him down the stairs. Ignore that he's very distracted by the husband making his dinner. So now that you've seen everything, let me know what you think. Are these nail arts a mega evolution, or do they need to just Z-move along? Oh, and also share some of your favorite Pokemon that you think would make good nail arts in the comments below.
Or just Pokemon that you like.
Who else here loves Arctozolt? Me, love Arctozolt. He's doofy and like, so cute. But also let me know any other video game nail arts that you'd be interested in seeing. And quick reminder before we go, if you're interested in supporting the channel, you can join as a member using the link in the description below. So thank you to my Titan Wranglers, but an extra special shout out to the many members of the Silver Spurs Club. I did it right that time. That was extra, and it's fun. I'm entertaining. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm gonna go finally finish Pokemon ZA now, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!
Been holding in a cough of Grigus this whole time.